Hey, what's up guys? Nick here. I wanted to fill you in today on a little something that I think is confused and some people are not confused, and some tips about using it, and that's chartreuse and chartreuse highlights. Every now and then you get these worms that have chartreuse in them, or they're pure chartreuse, and everyone says, oh, bass go crazy off of chartreuse, and that's not always true, and there's sometimes that is true. Or how to apply it to your lure, and how much should you use, and where should you put it. There's a bunch of different opinions out there. I've been fortunate enough to work with some of the best guys that I respect in this industry. Have been using chartreuse and chartreuse highlights for years, and scented little chartreuse markers like this little spike it marker I have right here, and they've really opened my eyes up on how to use it. And luckily for me, they were able to show me, and then I was able to apply my own 2 cents to it too, and really start to figure out how some things work and when to use chartreuse. So the first thing I want to start off with is, when is a good time to use chartreuse? A general time of year is when little tiny bluegills are around. Juvenile bluegills have a ton of chartreuse in them, and I think this is why bass like chartreuse. And it also stands out like a stop sign in the water to emphasize movement. My buddy Jason Borofka showed me, by highlighting the end of his Senkos, it really emphasizes the movement. And it's not necessarily that the bass is looking perfectly in line with the Senko as it's falling. He may just catch a glimpse of that chartreuse, and it's showing, instead of when it's falling with that little subtle motion through the middle of the water column, now it's emphasizing that subtle movement. And the same thing, you have a little Kitech swim bait right here. A lot of guys will paint the whole back of the tail chartreuse, and you know, maybe there's times it calls for that when the water's a little bit stained. But if the water's clean and you're using a little natural looking bait, they're getting a good look at it. Just putting a little bit of chartreuse around the edge of that tail is going to help emphasize that movement. And I also heard Cody Meyer talk on this subject, and Cody's a brilliant angler. And Cody says sometimes he'll use chartreuse when he's getting short strikes. Feels like a ba-boom, ba-boom. And then there's a lot of bait and very little hook. Like, let's say you wacky rig this. I got wacky rig tears right here, and this worm right here. It's wacky rig right here, and the hook's right there. So why not put a little chartreuse right around that hook, and maybe it'll give them a little better focal point into where to grab and get that hook. And I heard Cody talk about that, and he said he's had great success with it. I seen Jason highlighting the ends of things, and I've seen other buddies like Matt Frazier doing it on the ends of the tail for his swim baits, just to accent the movement. If you look at a soft plastic moving through the water, if you see a little bit of head movement, maybe put a little bit around where those gill plates would be to get them to focus in on that a little bit better. You know, think about that, guys. When you're out there, you're getting short strikes, maybe add a little chartreuse around where you're getting bit. Trying to emphasize that movement, the water gets a little bit more stain, you feel like you're missing strikes. Try that if you never have before. Now, another thing is, like, here's this worm I bought, and there's a chartreuse tail and multiple chartreuse rings throughout the bait. Now, I could say, okay, maybe if the water's real green, when there's a lot of greenery in the water, chartreuse has always worked well for me, okay? So if you want to throw a plastic with a lot of chartreuse in it, when that water's getting green right around the post spawn or summertime, depending on where you live, maybe your water never gets green, but if there's a lot of green haze to the water, that's your planktonic algae that's starting to fill the middle of that water column. Your phytoplankton starting to cut down visibility, and chartreuse accents can be fantastic for that. Also, there's another thing to think of. Sometimes guys will throw like a bright pink worm, and it's just throwing something entirely foreign to these fish to get them to bite. So if you want to go pure chartreuse, go ahead and try that, and maybe you're landing into that, showing them something completely different that they've never seen before and getting bites like that. Remember guys, I'm Nick the Informative Fisherman. Follow me on all my social media accounts, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Greatly appreciate you watching. Let me know how you do. Best of fishing.